Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. It is Thursday, May 9th, 2024. And just like the lady said, I am Donnie. And that man next to me, ladies and gentlemen, he is the Jordan to my Pippen, the Jokic to my Murray. He's the Steph to my Draymond. That's Notorious TID, Chris Tidwell. What up, Tid?
I don't even think you were saying words there, buddy.
Those are all, you just don't like basketball. Those are all words.
That is not a true statement at all. I absolutely watch basketball. I used
Jokic and Murray.
That
Jokic and Murray. What are their first names?
I
rest my case.
Listen, I'll have you know that I watched every episode of Hardcastle and McCormick, and they used to play basketball in the driveway and throw elbows at one another. So I'm all familiar, and I know that Ron Artest is a gem.
My son was watching this video on YouTube, and it was like a takeoff on that new X-Men 97 animated show. And it was like the X-Men playing basketball against each other, but they're all using their powers.
Oh, Wolverine kills the ball.
So my son's watching this. He's like, if this was the NBA, I would watch.
Bro. But like, you'd have to make a rule where you're not allowed to use your powers, because otherwise it just turns into a free for all Mortal Kombat.
No, I disagree. If you're gonna have a mutant NBA, then use all the powers,
bro. So have you seen the NBA now? Some of those dudes are mutants.
Yeah, look at LeBron. He's using all the powers. Guy's Thanos. That's not fair. Although he did go out in the first round. So bye, Bron. Couple things we want to mention before we get to our guest, who is patiently waiting backstage while we do all this bullshit. BlackBorkUSA.com, proudly sponsoring this program. I am rocking some Black Bork merch this week with my custom Godfathers of Podcasting removable patch. If you haven't been paying attention the last few weeks and you don't know the deal, these patches are custom and removable. You can get your own patch, and you can order something off of their website, or you can get your own design sent in. They sent us a bunch of stuff. Actually, last night I was at the album release party for our bro Danny-O and presented him with a custom Black Bork USA hat with his album cover right on the front. And my God, did he freak out. He was like a kid on Christmas. He did not see that one coming. So go to blackborkusa.com. They do incredibly high quality merchandise, a selection of different styles of hats, toques, or beanies, whatever you call them in your country, and literally hundreds of different patches on their website you can choose from, hundreds of different colors and styles of hats. BlackBorkUSA.com. Please go check them out, because they are supporting this program. And if nobody supports this program, then we're not going to do this program. So go support them, and they'll support us, and it's a beautiful little circle of love. Speaking of circle of love, Tid, that's been sort of our world for the last 24 hours, because I want to mention this quickly, not to bring everything to a total downer, but a good brother of ours passed yesterday and lost his really shitty battle with cancer. Jesse Scott, known to professional wrestling fans as JT Playa, or Tiberius King, depending how old you are. And obviously, like Jesse, I can't say he was a close friend of mine. I'd say he was a close acquaintance. You know, every time I see him, it's bro hugs and how you doing, brother, and that kind of thing. You were obviously much closer to Jesse than I was. You wanted to share a quick Jesse story before we get to our guest.
It's funny because Jesse was going to be missed. Stories abound all over the internet from people. The love has been spilling in for his family. We'll have up the links. There is a GoFundMe for stuff to go to his family, and we'll have all of that stuff up. Jesse was the kind of guy who, no matter who or you were or when you were around him, you could always get motivated by him. This guy was a guy who, like, he started Neo Wrestling. He's one of the founders of it. But he was always the guy that would give the speech, you know what I mean, beforehand, like warm the people up in the back in the locker room, get everybody fired up to go out there and put on the performance of their life.
He was Vince Lombardi.
fantastic at that job. Absolutely fantastic. Two things where I always thought it was one of the funniest things ever. One time, I literally watched Jesse give the speech all ready to go. He was like second match out there, and he's like, all right, we're going to go out there. Everybody's clapping. Woo. And he, boom, throws his arm up in the air like a big old high five, throws out his shoulder. Off the show. Off the show. He was also
off the show.
Off the show. Off the show. Literally couldn't move his arm. Completely dislocated his own shoulder, high five in a cloud like an old guy, right?
Poor bastard.
The only other thing that Jesse was always famous for as well, he always told you, there's kids out there in the crowd. There's families out there, keep it PG, don't do anything. And as soon as Jesse would walk through that curtain, first words out of his mouth were, come on, you motherfucker. It was the best, but that dude could get you fired up, man. And he's gonna be impossible to replace. And they say that you're always alive as long as people talk about you, and people are going to talk about him for decades upon decades upon decades. So
many times when he got in the ring, he would grab that microphone and he'd say, "Looky here, looky here, looky here." So Jesse, looky here. This one's for you, my brother.
Cheers.
Love you, and all of our best goes out to your lovely wife and your children. And like Tid said, we'll put up links up on Godfathers of Podcasting so you can show some support. We will transition from that.
Here's what I'm saying. It's a different process now. You're not going to forget about him. And it's just, it's completely different. The story is different now because now it's everybody gets to tell stories and have memorials. And we have to all, like, he's damn near the son of a bitch. He's forced us all now to get together at least once a year for some kind of memorial show that's going to happen in wrestling. And it's going to be the Jesse Scott Memorial. It's going to happen. Mark my words. And this guy has forced us all to remain friends for lifetimes. So screw him.
That sucks. I don't want to be your friend.
That's what I'm saying. But hey, I was on my way out. I was on my way out, Donnie. And then this guy.
I was already planning the Chris Tidwell Memorial. But
so
that
was
being
I.
said, ladies and gentlemen, it's time right now for the big hello. And this week's guest, he is making his second appearance on the show, but it's been about 4 years since the last time he was here. Where's he been? The last time he was on, I told you all how I met this guy when he was just a teenager and one of the absolute top basketball players in all of Canada. I was coaching, working at the same school that he was a student at, and we were both part of the same basketball program. And I realized what everyone realizes as soon as I met him. Man, his eyes are dreamy. No. What I was going to say is he's got this quiet charm. He's totally respectful, but you could tell this dude was the center of every single party. He had an outstanding career at Markham District High School before receiving a full ride to Loyola of Maryland in the NCAA. He teamed up with one of his top high school rivals and had a great 4-year run. After graduating, he made the transition to the pros, moving across the ocean to England and playing in the British Basketball League. And how did he do over there? Well, he had an incredible 13-year run with the Sheffield Sharks, highlighted by the fact that he was not only team captain and won a couple championships and was a championship MVP. But if you look at the Sharks record book, it's like his name is all over it. First in career points, first in field goals made, first in total rebounds, third in total assists, and fifth in steals. Dear Lord. Towards the end of his playing days, he started doing some work as a broadcaster, working with his team in the front office, and he has now become the head coach at the University of Sheffield. Now, let me tell you how I was shocked beyond words when up in my social media feed comes news about this guy that has nothing to do with basketball. Last month, I found out he had been cast in literally the most satanic and diabolical reality show I have ever watched. It's called Love Triangle, a show that basically allows him to choose between two different women, one that he needs in his life and one that represents what he's usually drawn to. He had to make a choice based on nothing but a couple of text messages, and he made that choice and he got along great with that woman. But then the show decides to fuck with their heads and they bring back the first woman that he initially rejected. And He liked her too. And now the show slaps him with another twist, and all three of them got to live together in the same house. This came from the mind of a very, very sick human being. We're going to talk to him all about that. Ladies and gentlemen, he's living in England, but he's still a Canuck. He's in a love triangle, but he kept it a buck. Though I got to admit that situation does suck. My boy was looking lost and fully dumbstruck. That show is purely evil, making him look the schmuck. But he's a true boss, never got by on just luck. Don't y'all know he dunks hard like a truck, and he never been the player that makes you go, yuck. Now give it up to Markham, Ontario's favorite son. This is Mike Tuck.
What an entrance there, man. You're a poet and you didn't even know it. That is wild. Thank you for that entrance. I appreciate that.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
We're doing okay. We're doing okay. And I got to tell you, what I just said is you remember this. It wasn't that long ago. I messaged you and I said, what the hell's going on? You're on a dating show? Like, that was not on my bingo card for 2024. And you're like, yeah, me neither. And
yeah,
I was like, okay, how do I watch this thing? And Tuck, the first 2 episodes, this is what I did. I got the show on and I just fast forwarded. Like, where's Tuck? I just want to see Tuck. All right, so I see Tuck. And now I fast forward again to the next time I see Tuck. Okay. And now there's a group party and everyone's together. And I'm like, okay, now I'm going to have to watch these other people. And it's like, oh shit, now I'm getting invested in their stupid lives. And now I'm watching this whole damn show. And it is like, I have watched reality TV. Tid always makes fun of me for it. But this is the most fucked up dating show I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I mean, yeah. So I don't watch reality TV shows. Like, I rarely.
Maybe you should have.
Definitely not. Yeah, I should have got some pointers. But yeah, I mean, I got asked. I said yes. Next thing you know, I'm in the whirlwind, and here we are. Yeah, it just kind of started off as I just got a DM on Instagram one day from a casting agent saying we're shooting for a new show. It was at the time they were billing it as Love Match, and the whole concept of the show was that they were going to match you. You filled out a bunch of personality tests. You met with a psych. You met with a matchmaker. They were going to match you with the girl of your dreams, and you were going to move into a house. And this was the experiment: living in a house with one girl for a month. Now, little did we know that Love Match was a working title. And the whole concept of the show was Love Triangle. So, like you explained, they showed up in Sheffield, filmed my backstory, and then they gave me a phone and like, oh, you're going to start texting your match today. But here's the twist. You're not just texting one girl, you're texting 2 girls. And at the end of the second day, you have to pick one of these girls to move into the house with. So from the jump, I was like, oh, there's something fishy going on here. Like, this is, I don't know what have I gotten myself into.
So they literally did not give you the lowdown, because like there was, I can't remember who it was, someone on the show, it might have been one of the 2 ladies you were matched with, I can't remember, but someone on the show said on episode 7 or episode 8 said, this situation sucks, but this is what we signed up for. But this is not what you signed up for.
No, I mean, they said there was going to be twists and turns and all that kind of jazz, but this was like next level. Like, and honestly, at every, like, it was pretty much at all the dinner parties where they would reveal like something, like you'd get a text on the phone. It'd be like, oh, you're going on a date with girl number 2. And then everyone's like, oh my God. And then, off camera, everyone's just freaking out, yelling at producers, at the directors, like, what the hell is going on? This is what we signed up for, blah, blah, blah. And then the next dinner we show up, the first, or we find out that we have to move in with the second match. The first match is moving out. That's a whole deal. Then we live with the second match for a week. We go to another dinner. The first match is there. When we walk in, it's just all this like drama. So there was so much turmoil on the show, obviously, but then behind the scenes and everything, it was just like chaos as well. And at the beginning of the show, when we first started filming it, the cast members that they had, I was like, this isn't going to be like very juicy. Like everyone was kind of just chill and it wasn't much going on. And now watching it back, it's just unreal. Like the amount of characters and drama that this show like has within it.
I mean, it's insane. You got the girl that has one hand. You got the girl with her OnlyFans. You got the girl that wears a different wig every single day. You got the girl who never stops crying. You got the professional basketball player. You got the guy who, Tid, there's one guy on there who left the show because he's making a career of just appearing on other dating shows. Like
He left to do Love Island Malta.
It's the most fucked up cast I've ever seen. It's insane.
Absolutely crazy. It wasn't what I thought I was signing up for. But hey, we had some tough times, but we had a few laughs. We had a few laughs in the mix and met some amazing people.
Okay, here's the first question though, because you talked about all of the people bitching at the producers and stuff like that off camera. Did it ever get physical?
Ooh. No, never physical. I don't think there was one kind of physical thing, but there was a lot of tears. There was a lot of rants, people threatening to leave the show. There was a lot of things that happened off camera, probably stuff I can't really talk about, but It was just like, there was just as much, if not more drama off camera and behind the scenes than there was on camera and within the show. And also we filmed this for a month. Obviously this comes out, it's 9 episodes with a reunion episode. So 10 episodes long. There's entire days. There's probably about a week worth of days of filming that they didn't even use in my triangle. So like everybody, so there's so much more to the stories that they didn't even put, and the way they've clipped it together and stuff. They chased certain storylines that weren't really that big, but they made them big because that's what fed the story. But yeah.
Can I just say you look so freaking uncomfortable in this picture? Like this is the most unnatural pose I've ever seen in my entire existence.
That's the Sears catalog tuck.
This is great. Hey, I'm in a lawyer firm.
That suit is way too tight. That's why.
Tid, if you can blow up that picture for a second. I want to give you for Tid's sake and for anyone who hasn't watched the show. So the guy on the left, correct me if I'm wrong, Tuck, he's the one that said he thinks he's asexual.
He did. There was a reference to that in one episode. Yes. Okay.
And then you see Tuck there. And then you see that's the woman who she wears a different hairpiece every single day. The next woman there,
she suffers from alopecia, so she wears wigs. So she showed up to the first party. I think she was blonde at the first party, and then the second party she showed up and she was a redhead, and I was like, what the hell is going on?
She has hair.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I didn't notice.
Oh yeah. Your eyes didn't go to her head. Is that what you're saying?
Move your eyes up a bit there.
Be a gentleman, Tid. That next woman there, Danica, she started a thing with the guy on the right who wasn't even part of her triangle. They just started making out one day at one of the group get-togethers. The next girl there, Jazz, she's the one that had literally, I think she said she was born without her right hand, and she had a surgery to have a bunch of toes put on her hand. So she's got this little claw hand.
Shut up.
And then calls it the chicken. Jazz is great.
Yeah, she calls it her little chicken. Yeah.
She
has toe fingers.
Her umbilical cord was wrapped around her hand while she was forming, while she was in the womb. So she was born without a hand.
That's wild. I've never heard of that before. And then the other guy there, Tid, that's the dude who's like the professional dating show guy, and I he's in the running for douchiest TV character I've ever seen. Holy, I'm sure for you, Tuck, you have a different experience. You got to know these guys differently. And you're one of these dudes. You're a man's man. You're the kind of guy that you're bros with every dude. Were you able to get along with that guy?
I mean, yeah, off camera, it was fine. We didn't really have much back and forth, to be honest.
Sure.
Even what the show did do a really good job of was just trying to keep us all separate and like not letting us communicate with each other, so that we were all kind of stuck in our own worlds, our own bubbles. I mean, they took away our phones, they took away our computers. We weren't allowed to like have any contact with the outside world. And then within this little world that we were living in, they were trying to keep us apart. At the parties, like right away, they would be like separating us and making us leave in different cars and all that kind of thing. So, but obviously, you know, you talk to a few people and that, but Lloyd, that guy, he ended up leaving halfway through the show, so no one really had much contact with him after he left.
So crazy. It's so bizarre to me.
He
When I
brought the
saw
drama, though. I mean, he knows, that guy knows how to do it, reality TV, that's for sure.
He's just cashing checks and breaking hearts. When I saw the caption for that episode and it said a shocking departure from the show, you know, on the whatever, and I'm like, please let it be Tuck. Please get off this ride.
Mate, I'll tell you what, I was ready to leave a couple times. I'm pretty sure I threatened production. I was like, I'm out. Like, you guys stop throwing curveballs at me, please. I'm dying.
Tell me, what was the moment where, like, at least the first time where you went to them and said, I can't do this. I got to get out of here.
Well, I think like after they said they're bringing another girl into the situation, that was right. Like, and then I had to go back to the house and tell Kelly that she was moving out and Danielle was moving in. And they sent the crew back before I arrived at the house to like film this as well. And I was like, this is getting nuts. Like, this is just crazy. But I think the biggest moment was when all three of us had to move into the house together like that. And we got the text about that. And that was just like, oh my God, get me out of here. Like, I was just like, I might leave right now. I'm done.
When I was telling Tid about the concept of the show, and I told him how you had to move in with Kelly after whatever it was, a day, like of knowing her, you had to move
one blind date, and then we moved in the next day.
Right. So I was telling him, and I told him about the concept of the third person, and he goes, "Why don't they all live together?" And I'm like, "Just wait,
just wait. Wait till week 3."
I mean, it just sounds like polygamy.
I mean, one of the people did make that suggestion.
Like the Throuple TV show on a bunch of websites and articles. And now looking back, like to the whole makeup of the show, like it makes complete sense. You know, introduce one girl, introduce the other girl, introduce all three, and like hell starts. And that's exactly what they got out of the situation.
So watching the show, I'll be honest with you, dude. Like, I did not expect you, Mike Tuck, the guy who I've always known to be cooler than the other side of the pillow. I did not expect you to go on this show and be like, yeah, I'm falling for this girl. Oh, I'm falling for her too. Like, I thought you just play this like chill and be like, nah, this isn't working for me. Like, were you shocked? Were you shocked that you were actually developing feelings for these people in such a such a short amount of time?
I mean, yeah, I think you're obviously you have this whole stigma, like, are you actually going to find love on like a reality TV show? But they did do a lot of like groundwork for this. I mean, I had to fill out, I think it was like 3 different personality tests that took like quite a while, and then meet with a psychiatrist and then meet with a matchmaker. So like there was like a lot of time and effort and money involved into like actually like, you know, finding compatibility between the people. And I think that was like my curse on the show, is that they matched me really well with 2 different people. And I got along really well with both of them. And it was a surprise. I think you also have to realize, like, you're in this situation where, you know, you got multiple cameras in your face. You don't have your phone. You don't have anything else. There's no contact with the outside world. So you're just kind of in your head, in your own feelings, in this own little, like, you know, contained environment. And then you're living with this person. So like a day in a house like that feels like much longer, doesn't it? So things developed quickly. And also, you know, I kind of threw myself into this experiment, like, you know, trying to approach it with more of an open heart rather than be closed off.
Did you lie on your test?
Yeah. I should have said I was 6'9". I only put 6'7".
If they would have had me take multiples, I would have changed it every single time.
That's for the test.
Just to make better TV.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
I feel like some people did lie on their test.
It seemed like that, because I don't know how the hell they matched some of the other couples. Because like
exactly what I was just saying.
It was just like, what the hell is going on over there? But hey, it made for some good TV, that's for sure.
Yeah, there were some matches where it's like, did anyone even think about these? Like, there's nothing compatible about these people.
Definitely, 100%. But yeah, some of them worked, some of them didn't. It gets spicy at the end. Very juicy show. I've had so many people reach out, especially, from the basketball community in England and all over the place, being like, same as you. I never watched this kind of show, whatever. And they're like, I am hooked. Like, I can't stop watching this. Like, everybody's been tuning in. And the numbers over here, are doing really, really well. They say the show is doing really, really well from the production side. So
let's look at the positive. Let's look at the positive for a second, because obviously you're a guy who your entire online persona, your entire brand has always been about Mike Tuck, the basketball player, Mike Tuck, the coach, right? You are Mike Tuck basketball. Like, if I search Mike Tuck online, I'm going to find other guys that played like rugby or some shit. But if I type in Mike Tuck basketball, it's all you, and it's everything since you were a child. And potentially this opens you up to a whole new audience. This opens you up to new opportunities on a business front. Is that something that you're excited about? Is that something that was part of the strategy here? Because it sounds like a lot of these people that sign up, it's like, look, I'm pretty sure Brody was just like, I'm gonna make some money on my OnlyFans.
I think she has, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's something different, right? And like, single at the time, I got asked to do it. I already work in broadcasting a little bit with live TV, live basketball. So like, I'm used to being in front of a camera. It was something to raise the profile, but also, I was single. I could meet somebody there. And like you said, like, it's completely like opened me up to a completely different audience. There's like a lot of new followers and different people. And I've always been a guy who's kind of shouted about the British Basketball League and British basketball in general. So it's kind of cool to kind of get some new audience eyes on that as well. I'm also, I'm head of marketing for the Sheffield Sharks. So, getting some more people around the games, and I've had a few of the cast members down sitting courtside at our games and stuff like that. So that's been really cool and really fun, and just, like trying to, bring some more eyes and new eyes on the sport and raise the profile of not only myself, but also basketball and the Sharks.
More or less than 25 DMs from very thirsty women that said, Mike, forget Kelly, forget Danielle, I'm your girl.
More.
Way more? Like, I'm not in the right ballpark.
Yeah, but look, you got to talk about quality here. Like, there's
I don't care about. No. I'm just talking pure volume, just volume.
There's been a bunch. The attention online has been pretty wild.
Right.
And even like just searching Twitter, like searching the hashtags and seeing what people are commenting and what they're talking about. I mean, obviously there's my story, but then there's also like 6 other triangles. So like, everybody's got a comment to make about everything on the show. So I think it's pretty funny, like going and reading some of that stuff.
Yeah, Jazz with her little chicken hand went from, in my mind, being the sweet, innocent girl to being like, yo, what the fuck are you doing, girl? Like, I was getting hot. I'm like, yo, that dude over there, he's a sweetheart, and this guy's a fucking douche, and what are you doing? And now she's talking about like, hey, maybe we could try out a threesome tonight. And I'm like, who is this girl? Like,
I mean, that's it, though. Everybody's got an opinion though, right? Because some people, some people love Jack, the new guy. Some people love Jazz still. So like, it's funny because you have this your own perception in your head of how it's going to go or how people are, soaking it all in. But like, there's a different opinion on everybody. Everybody I talk to, some people love certain people, some people hate certain people. It's interesting to see, and how invested people are in this whole thing. Like, yes, it was, you know, reality TV, but it's also like it's TV and it's like very highly edited, but like people are so invested in these storylines, like it's like life or death kind of situation.
Right. Tid?
It's pretty much pro wrestling, dude.
Yeah. I mean,
It's the same thing. It's a bunch
exactly.
it's a bunch of fucking nerds sitting in front of the talkie box watching other people's lives. Okay.
Exactly.
And then they
You got,
aren't
like,
real.
your pantomime villains walking out. You got your
Yeah.
heroes. People are cheering for one guy, cheering for the other guy. It's just like, it's nuts.
Okay, so let's use that analogy for a second. Mike started on the show as the ultimate good guy.
Okay.
Did the comments on Twitter change at any point? Did you start getting hate?
I mean, yeah, I've gotten both. I've gotten love and I've gotten hate. I mean, I fell for both girls. I created, you know, I opened myself up and you know, let things progress with both sides. So obviously there's some people who weren't a fan of that. And then I obviously split kind of people as well in terms of like team Danny, team Kelly. So it's been funny to watch that as well. And people having like such big opinions on things. And like some people are like, well, like to some of the girls, like, well, it was called Love Triangle. You knew what you were signing up for. And it was like, no, I was like, we didn't know shit. Like we didn't know jack shit. We got thrown like force fed bullshit every day just to keep us going. Like literally this show's already come out in Australia. There's 2 seasons of this in Australia already. It's from the same people that made Married at First Sight Australia. So the whole thing with them not telling us the name of the show is so that we didn't go and Google it and find out that there was all like go and watch all that version in Australia. So that's how they kind of kept it from us. But you know, the show's done well now, and now they've already been putting out messages for casting for season 2, the Love Triangle UK season 2. So,
Which Tuck will not be a part of.
fuck no.
Now, will you do any other reality TV at this point?
No more dating shows, that's for sure.
So just straight Playgirl magazine.
Okay, yeah, get me in. I'm gonna get into wrestling next. How about that, Chris?
There we go.
It'll get you started. I got to tell you, dude. The whole thing was so bizarre to watch, and you know, it was not a question to me that you're meeting up with these women, you're getting to know them, you're spending time with them. I'm like, they're all going to fall for Tuck. I'm convinced that there's women in the other couples that fell for you too. Because you're just this charming son of a bitch, 6'7" fucking silver fox. They're all checking you out. They're like, they got their little nerd next to them. Like, you know, I could go for some Tuck. And I know that that's what was fucking going on. But I wasn't surprised that both girls were bonding with you. I was a little surprised that you clicked so well with both. But I will say this. Now, like while I'm watching and I'm getting invested, I'm like, don't choose Kelly. Don't choose Kelly. Like I'm screaming at the fucking TV. I'm like, she cries nonstop, bro. You're going to have a migraine every day. You're going to be like, all right, Kelly, I got to go and I got to go cover a game. And but you're going to leave me? Like that's the shit that's going to go on. And I'm like, nah, dude, this is not your match. And Danielle seems so fucking cool. And I'm screaming at you. That episode, whatever the fuck it was, when all 3 of you are having dinner together and Kelly leaves the table every 2 seconds to have a cry fest and you're following her to the bathroom and you're following her everywhere. And I'm like, Tuck, go talk to the other one. For fuck's sakes. Forget the crying one.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, I'm not here to bash anybody. I think, you know, both great people, and like since the show, we've all been cool, and
I know.
But yeah, it was just there was a lot of emotions and a lot going on. And,
I'm sure. I'm sure Kelly's lovely. I'm sure she's lovely.
Great girl, and Danielle as well. Both great people. It was just, I think the moment for me is when like they both moved into the house. I was just like the producers were like looking at me like I was like shell shocked because I was just like walking around like a zombie for a week because I just like it was just too much for me to like take in. You know what I mean? Like I'm like having to live with this shit storm that I've created here.
How many days? How many days do you have to live with him?
It was like a week with Kelly, a week with Danielle, and then pretty much a week together. Maybe give and take a day or two here. It might have been like 7 or 8 days, 9 days, something like that. So
who was the first one? Who was the first one to napalm the bathroom?
Well, that was the best thing about the show is that we moved into like this mansion in Manchester. It was awesome. We lived in like had like 5 bedrooms, had a theater room, big backyard. Like it was like beautiful house. So like, you know, you had your own little private bathroom. You had your own little space to go. Everything was great.
Bro, I'd have been crop dusting that entire place. It's like, y'all think you signed up for something, huh? Okay, let's go.
Tid's making his own show. Tid's turning it into Fear Factor.
Yeah.
You know, when I was watching, one of the first things I thought to myself on the very first episode when y'all moved in, I was like, oh, is this, because they didn't explain it on the air. I was like, is this a production house or is this Tuck's house? Because they didn't really. And then, I saw the scene.
It was 6 triangles.
That's the new show, Tuck's house.
Tuck's house. There you go. They moved 2 of us into like big mansions. So like I think we had the best house for sure. Because you know, I lived there, right? So it was like, of course. And then 2 of them were in like kind of more like they call them cottages, not like the Canadian sense of a cottage, but more like a country kind of farmhouse out in the countryside, like Cheshire, which is just outside Manchester. And then 2 of the couples were in like penthouse suite apartments, like right downtown Manchester, like sick, like way up in there. But we had like the biggest house.
I looked at the house and I said, that house is gorgeous. But the moment I realized this is not your house was whatever episode number it was. I don't remember, but Kelly was there, I think in the bedroom or something. And you did the Kramer slide into the room. He slides into the room, Tid, like the slickest motherfucker. And I'm looking at the headroom that he has on the door. I'm like, that's not his house. There's not a chance.
I do that on every fucking doorway, man.
Yeah, but no.
I gotta lower my head.
Yeah, but you're like me, dude. You're not going to live in a house that doesn't fit you. Like, you want doorways that are tall enough for you. You want a shower head that's high enough for you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think the standard doorway in England is like 6'5". So I'm 6'7".
That's bullshit. So like,
I'm just used to ducking on every door as it is.
Oh, that sucks, man.
Yeah, man.
6'5". So, the finale for the show, the reunion has not yet aired. The finale for the show aired tonight.
And no, the reunion aired right after it.
Oh, it did. I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah.
So I got TV to catch up on when this is done. Gonna go watch on Channel 4. But when the finale aired, like I was hung on episode 8. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy gonna choose? So it's aired. Can we divulge who you ended up with?
Of course, it's out in the world now. So
yeah.
I ended up choosing Danielle.
Attaboy! Attaboy!
And what do you get?
Listen, there was no winners and losers in this. Everybody lost, all right?
I'm not listen, Kelly is a lovely girl. I just thought for you, Danielle seemed like a better fit. That's all.
Yeah, I think with Danielle, it was just very natural, and I was, just more excited to kind of explore what was there. So, with Kelly, obviously, great girl, but very emotional and very fiery. So, I just went with Kelly, just a little bit more easygoing.
So, when was the reunion filmed?
It was probably like a month or 2 after the show.
Oh,
yeah.
Because a lot of times with these kind of shows, they'll film the reunion because like the whole show was filmed like a year ago, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times with these reunions, if the show's not going to air for a year, they'll do the reunion like a month before airing, so we can get a true update on what everyone's up to. So what is the update for Tuck right now with his love triangle status?
I'm not with either Danny or Kelly. We're just friends now. And here's the crazy part.
I'm dead.
Nobody from the show stayed together.
Of course not.
Absolutely not one of the people. I still talk to all the people. None of them are together. So it was we did this whole fucked up experiment for nothing.
I mean, this is what happens on these fucking shows, man. This is what always this is the way it goes. But now that being said, now that you've told me this, that nobody has ended up together. What was her name again? The girl with the wigs?
Zarlina.
Yeah, you were eye fucking her pretty hard on episode 1.
See, that's another thing where that was production pushing that, because at the dinner party, right? There's that dinner party scene where it's me and her talking, and it's like, oh, Kelly's looking over, and they're trying to create this whole thing, right? I went over to everybody at that party and had a conversation with every single person. I said, "Well,
I believe that.
Like, I'm saying what's up. I'm making friends. I'm working the room, networking." But of course, when it comes to the editing room, they're like, "Ooh, let's clip this little bit up. Yeah, Mike and Zarlina, let's make it a thing." And then the next episode, the next dinner we went to, they sat us both at the top of the table together. They tried to and that's how the producers in the show kind of manipulate situations and try and make it look like one thing is bigger than it was. But in reality, me and Zarlina, obviously she's a gorgeous girl and she's cool as fuck. We went and shot one of the promo slots for it, and talking to her, great girl, but there was never anything there.
You know why they edited it that way though, right? You fucked yourself. Do you realize this? On episode 1, when y'all were having that group dinner, I can't remember who it was. I can't remember who it was that asked the question. One of the other ladies said, if there was someone else here that you could choose, who would it be? And Kelly looked at you with daggers. And the correct answer from you would be nobody. But you fucking said Zarlina.
Yeah, but okay, so here's the other thing with that, right? I was the last person to go in that. But when they clip it up, there was only like 2 people that said it, and I was like the first one to say it. So it makes it look like right away I'm just like on Zarlina or whatever.
Yeah, you're jumping in.
Everybody had gone around the room, and multiple guys had said Zarlina already, and a couple of guys had said Kelly. So I'm just like, all right, naturally, I'm gonna say Zarlina.
You're playing the game. You're just playing along.
But watching it back retrospectively and how they clipped it together, I was like, oh man, no, that was bad. I should have picked somebody else.
Should have picked Toe Fingers.
Yeah, Jazz. Hell yeah.
You should have picked one of the guys. Tid was mad that there was no gay connections on the show.
That's what I'm saying. That'd be the next season. If you got to pick either a girl or a guy, or
don't discriminate, right?
Put your hands together. What if you have to pick a girl guy?
Yeah.
Hey, you never know, right?
That's season 2. That's a whole nother thing.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Maybe. What was her name? Zarlina?
Yeah.
Zarlina. Maybe she was a Tucker.
No, she's a fabulous woman. Tuck, it's crazy to me that this has even happened. It's insane. I honestly thought that the next time I had you on the show, all we would do is talk for 45 minutes or an hour about how you're doing at the University of Sheffield, coaching your guys. I was thinking, we haven't even touched on the fact that since the last time you were on this show, you retired. You were a player the last time you were on this show.
Yeah, man. It's been too long. No invite though, right? So.
Oh, come on now. You're a busy cat. Come on now.
I'm only messing with you. No, it's been a minute, man. A lot's happened. Definitely. This is my second year being retired, so it's just crazy. But still staying busy as hell. Obviously, head of marketing for the Sharks, coaching University of Sheffield basketball team, and then doing some Sky Sports appearances for the British Basketball League here and there when I can. So, it was good. It was a big transition, obviously, from not playing, but I think a lot has happened. I was in a movie since I retired. I've been on this TV show. I've done lots more Sky Sports stuff. So it's opened up a lot more doors, having that freedom and flexibility.
When BBL training camp starts the last two seasons, are you itching? Are you pissed?
Itching for preseason? Fuck no. Are you kidding me?
Well, just itching to get back on the floor.
No, yeah. I mean, I think this season it's much more normal, but last season it was definitely like showing up to games, walking in, and then seeing the guys walk in and knowing that like the process they're going through in their head, the routines that they're about to get into, and then me like just walking in and like just feeling like a fucking civilian, just like, oh God, that was like a really tough thing to wrap my head around, especially like the first like 5 home games. I think I was like, whoa, this is very weird for me. But obviously, time goes by, you get used to it. Like, things just normalize over time, right? Like it's just normal to me now. Obviously, there's still that passion and that love. Like I there's times where I want to still get out there, and I do miss the game. I miss being competitive. I miss all those things, but the one thing I don't miss is like the pressure of it. Because I think for me, being on this team for so long, 13 years, it was 11 years I was captain. And like, when you lose a game as captain and stuff like that, it's like you take it on your chest a little bit more than just the regular player. So I think I had that on my shoulders for quite some time. So that was a bit of like a relief, but yeah, man, like there's times, we've moved into a new arena this season, so I can watch the guys practice from my office, and you hear the bouncing of the balls, and you see the guys like getting into drills and stuff, and you're like, man. And then the games, the roar of the crowd, you see the guys running out on the floor. It's like you do. I don't think that's ever going to leave, right? Like no matter what, even in any sport, right? Like wrestling as well. Like you'd never lose that passion and that love for it.
Oh no, Tid does not care. He never wants to get in the ring again.
That's not true.
I'm smelling comeback. It's comeback season, baby. Let's go. Dust off the boots.
You got one more in you, Tid? You going to work at the Jesse Scott Memorial?
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what the paycheck's like.
You got one more in you. Come on, big boy. I got to ask you this because I don't remember how long ago it was now, Tid. Maybe you can remind me. I think it was 2 months ago. We were joined on this show by your former high school teammate, Chris Kraus.
Oh, amazing.
Chris was on the show for the first time ever, and we were talking to him about, of course, obviously being the first Canadian head coach in NCAA basketball, the transition from Division II to Division I, everything that he's doing, obviously winning Coach of the Year down there. And now you're in a similar situation where you've hung up the high tops and you put on the tracksuit and you're standing on the sidelines and holding the clipboard. Is the fact that the both of you evolved into such great leaders on the floor and such great coaches, is that directly connected to those early days where you were playing together and the head coach that you were playing for?
One, without a doubt, 100%, yes. And it's a testament to Chris's dad, George Kraus, my high school basketball coach, who I have to give him so much thanks and praise, because like without him, I wouldn't have got to where I was at. He instilled such confidence in us and developed us as basketball players on the court, but then also as just like good people off the court, and just giving us so much direction in those early days. You can see it in all those guys that played on that high school team. They've all gone on to do great things, and but definitely myself coaching university team now, obviously not on the same level of what Chris is doing, but still at a standard. And then Chris amazing to see, him kind of following in his dad's footsteps, but like taking it to the next level. And then, going back, being, a high level top name guy at Stonehill, to going to the assistant coach, to making it the head coach, to taking the team from D1 to D2 or D2 to D1. Unreal story. It's just like fairy tale kind of stuff. And for George and his wife Mary, they couldn't be prouder of him and probably of all of us.
Yeah, no, for sure. I know for a fact George and Mary Krause, they look at you like another one of their sons, and
100%.
always have. You may not remember this, but I'm going to throw it at you because it's relevant to what we were just talking about. The very first conversation that you and I ever had, the very first, I remember it so clearly, Tuck. I was still teaching at your rival high school, which was my alma mater, right? Before I made the jump over to Markham District, I was at your rival school, and you were suited up to play for Markham High, and I'm coaching the other team, and we had a chat, and you were telling me, yeah, I was supposed to go to this school because you were going to go to the Catholic school, and that was the school in your district that you were supposed to go to. But the reason you didn't is because, well, for one thing, they didn't have George Krause, but also in grade 9, they didn't even have a team. Like their team had actually stopped playing, and they had suspended their basketball team for a couple of years. I've thought about this so many times, Tuck, how different your life would be had you not gone to Markham District.
Oh, it's insane. Like, to think that, because he, like, George literally changed like the whole path of my life. I still remember him, calling me. I was like grade 8, 13, 14 years old. And he's calling me, recruiting me to go to Markham District. And it was just like, thank God I was born same year as Chris Krause, because he was in the background trying to recruit this team. Like he was like almost like he was like a college or a pro coach, like, recruiting players around his son. He's getting all these pieces. But yeah, he literally like changed the course of my life. And I still remember getting off that phone call. I remember my dad handing me the phone. He's like, "This is a very important phone call for you. Like, here, take this." And then, getting off, and then my dad just looking at me like, "What are you going to do? You're going." And I was just like, "All right, looks like I'm going to Markham District to play basketball now." But hands down.
How is your dad?
He's doing great, man.
I love your dad.
Yeah, he's doing great. He had a bit of a car accident last year. I think, did we talk about that?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
So like it was right after the show. It was pretty intense. But he's all out the other end now. He's doing great. It's his birthday.
Thank God.
It's his birthday in 2 weeks. He's going to be 80. He's getting up there, but he's great. He's sharp as a whistle too, man. He's sharp as hell. He's still got it. Still charming anybody that's talking to him.
Yeah, well, where you got it from.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the original silver fox, that guy.
That's right.
Ted, I just want to give you this for context too, right? When I had the opportunity to leave my alma mater where I was teaching and coaching, and I went to Markham District, and I got a chance to learn from George Krause when I was a young coach. I was only in my early 20s, man. I was like 22, 23 years old. And I got a chance to work with another legendary coach there, Ron Burrows. And I remember when I got to Markham District, my exposure to high school boys basketball practice at the time was just at my old school. And so now I walk into practice, like the first day of school in September, and I walk in and I see Tuck, who I've already met, but I see him on the floor along with Chris Krause, along with the rest of that team. And the way, like, this is 5 minutes after, like, okay, that's an exaggeration, 15 minutes after the bell rang, right? They're in the gym and they're warming up, and they're moving that fucking ball like it's a missile, and they are sprinting up and down the floor. And I'm looking, and I turn to Ron Burrows and I say, this is a game I'm not familiar with. Like, what are they doing? Like, I felt like I was watching a college team. These kids were moving at a pace that was insane to me, and they were all huge. You had Tuck, and you had another guy on the team, Eugene, that was a fucking tree, and like the team was so skilled. You got 3 kids on that squad that were top in the country, and I'm like, what the fuck.
Yeah,
You know,
man.
it was
And that was George,
intimidating.
right? Like George found me at a camp when I think I was like 11 years old or something like that. So like he just like developed all of us from such a young age. He was running our youth practices like they were like college practices. He was always bringing in kids that were older than us to have games against. He was always trying to get us like to play up and level up, play against, you know, bigger talent. So, you know, by the time we did get to high school, you know, our grade 9 team was better than the senior team at Markham. Like that first year, like we hit the ground running. We were playing scrimmages against them and just blowing them out. So, you know, like we said earlier, you got to take your hats off to George Krause for sure.
It's
last thing.
what I'm hearing. Hold on. What I'm hearing here is that this is a guy who's like a father figure, so to speak, right? A grandfather, like a coaches, mentors, stuff like that, like responsible for the man that you've become today and the career that you've had. Basically, what you're telling me is that it's his fault you had to do that fucking reality show.
Yeah, fuck George. I got a bone to pick with this guy. What the
fuck? Yeah, true. You never would have ended up on Love Triangle.
Yeah, you would have never gotten like somebody like creeping your Instagram to look at you before sending you a DM because they're like, oh yeah, here's a cup of tea that deserves to be on this fucking show.
The last thing I want to ask you
about, baby, drink it up.
The last thing I want to ask you about, Tuck, only because I've never asked you about this before, and for anyone that doesn't realize this, and that includes you, Tid, because you may not be aware, when Tuck was I don't want to say a young man, he's still a young man, but when he was a player, one thing that Tuck was definitely known for, by the way, underrated passer and underrated shooter. Let me just say that. But Tuck was known for the fact that he could throw down like a motherfucker. Like that guy attacked the rim and dunked so goddamn hard. I thought he was going to tear the rim down every single time. And I wonder if that December day, about 24 years ago, if my memory is correct, if that day plays in your head when you see kids in the gym, whether it's the university kids that you're working with or young kids, and they're fucking around and they're trying to throw down dunks that they've never done, does that day play in your head? Because for anyone that isn't aware, your whole career almost came to an end that day when you were 17 years old, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for, you know, to the audience, to the listeners, I was, we were trying to dunk, see who could jump for the farthest out and dunk after practice, a bunch of us on the team. And obviously I go up, I took off probably from like the 3-point line, you know, cause I was so bouncy back then, grabbed the rim and then my feet went out under me and I slipped off the rim and I literally just like went missile down, went head first into the ground, completely knocked out. Don't remember a thing. I woke up in the brain trauma unit of St. Mike's downtown Toronto about 12 hours later. Don't remember a thing from it. I still remember waking up and it was like middle of the night and I'm like shaking my head and I look over and my mom's asleep on the chair there and then just there's this blood trickling out of my ear and I was just like, where the hell am I? Like what happened? Yeah, but I think the best thing about that whole thing was like, obviously it showed me that I wasn't invincible, but I had such like a good group of people around me and George, and like, instead of just like babying me and like coddling me or whatever, like we just kind of tried to like get into the steps, into the motions of getting me back into it. And as soon as the doctor was giving me the okays for everything, like I think it was a month later, we played in a tournament in Florida and I got MVP of the tournament down.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. So I think like that again, like George and the coaching staff and all those people like just kind of forced me back into it. But obviously there's times where I do think about that. And that was another moment in my life that could have completely like changed everything, you know, it could have been, life could have been a lot different. I'm a very lucky dude. Yeah,
you are, dude. You have been kissed by the gods. Tid, I'll tell you one last thing before we go, and this will give you a picture of what kind of man Tuck's father, Wilf Tuck, was. I remember Papa T. Wilf, I remember this, like it was because of Tuck that I learned what the scaphoid bone was, right? Because you broke that fucker, right? And that's when I learned. And again, that was dunking, right?
Yeah, at a tournament.
So he broke this bone, and I don't know if you know it, Tid, but it's like I think it's the only bone in the body that doesn't get blood. Is that correct?
Yeah, in your
So
wrist. Yeah,
so because
right.
of that, so it takes forever to heal because it doesn't get blood supply. So Tuck breaks this fucking bone in his hand, and he's got a cast on, and they're coming up to playoffs. And I remember talking to George Krause and saying, "So what's the deal? Like, is Tuck going to be able to play?" And his dad, Tuck's dad, Wilf, overhears me. Goes, "Oh, he'll play. I'll cut the goddamn thing off."
And we did the night before the semifinal. We go to play Milliken Mills, and my dad's like, "Mike, come out to the shed real quick." And then my dad literally hacksawed my cast off like about 3 weeks before I should have taken it off. He hacksaws this thing off, and he's like, "You're playing tomorrow."
Yeah. Yeah, you know what that was? You know what that was? That was those waking up early to take you to practice when he didn't want to wake up, right? But he had to because he was taking care of his boy. Yeah, that's the get back right there.
No, he wasn't letting me miss that game.
Ooh.
And you played well in that game.
The story is we lost the game, but I was high score, 16 points.
Yeah.
You played game, right?
Yeah.
You played great in that game. Were you just dying in pain? Because you played great.
I remember my dad, we put this wrist thing on, right? And my dad put like this metal like bar in there just to keep it secure or whatever. And the refs before the game like come over and they check it and they take the bar out right away. They're like, "You're not playing with this thing." So I just had this like flimsy ass wristband on. But I think it was just the adrenaline and just getting back out there, I was just like, screw this. And then it was playoffs too, right? You got to turn up.
I've coached in my coaching career, as you know, I've coached hundreds of kids. I've coached some really special players, some special athletes that have had the opportunity to go play college ball, and a couple that have had the opportunity to go play pro. And I swear to God, Tuck, I've never seen anyone that played the game the way you did. Like, and that is the honest to God truth, with a level of joy and an intensity, but also a smile and a skill level that sometimes, like I said, was shocking, right? Because everyone saw you and like, oh, he's a dunker. And it's like, oh shit, no, he does a lot more. As evidenced when I mentioned earlier, you're all over the Sheffield history books with all the different stats and different categories. Dude, I hope that you take the time to look back fondly on your career. You have been kissed by angels. You also were kissed by Kelly and Danielle and chose neither one of them because you're a fucking G. And this is how you roll. And you know what, dude? I'm so happy for you. Continued success with whatever the hell you do. Obviously, we'll stay in touch and keep up to date with what you're up to. But the last thing I want to say as we say goodnight is on episode 1 of Love Triangle, you fucking asshole made me cry because you paid such beautiful tribute to your mom. And I loved your mom. I was there with you at her service and I loved your mom. And I thought she was one of the sweetest people I ever met. And you paid such a beautiful tribute to her on the very first episode. And I was like, God damn it, this asshole's got me crying in a fucking dating show.
Yeah, man. You do these little interviews, and obviously my mom, passed away very suddenly a few years back. And we talked so much about my dad and his character, but my mom was just as big of a character and very loving person. So I broke down in front of the cameras a little bit, let my guard down there, but she deserves it, and definitely think about her and miss her every day. So I really appreciate the kind words, Donnie, and all the kind words you've said tonight, man. It's been a pleasure being on and catching up, and you're bringing back all these memories and these stories that I'd forgotten about. So I appreciate you guys having me on. Great to see you as well, Tid. And I know we mentioned at the beginning, but my condolences to your buddy for yesterday. Really sorry to hear about that. Really sucks when you lose someone who's important. So big shout out to him.
Yeah, much respect. And Tuck, listen, dude, I know you're over there in England, in Sheffield, so it's probably like, I don't know, 5 a.m. I'm not good with math, but it's late, and you've got a lot of DMs of very thirsty women to sort through. God. So if you're at a stage,
of those pictures, send us some.
Yeah, if you're at a stage where you're overwhelmed and you need someone to sift through the volume, let me know. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Donnie, the secretary. There you go.
Yeah. No, I'll not a secretary, more like a vet. I'll vet them for you. I'll make sure that they're quality for Tuck. Okay.
Great. Appreciate
I'll do a better job than the fucking show. I'll tell you that. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. He is Mike Tuck, head coach at the University of Sheffield Sharks legend. And apparently, like, I thought this motherfucker was going to move back to Toronto when he retired. No, he's just never leaving. He's just there forever. So I'm glad that you're happy. Have a good time. And you know what? We'll see you whenever you come home and visit. Okay, brother?
All right, man. Thanks for having me, guys. Great to see you. Cheers.
All right. Mike Tuck, everybody. That's a man's man right there, Tid.
Dude, he's doing great things. He's living his life. So good for him, right? You got to be on a reality show, have to choose between two girls, told them both to eat it.
That would have been you on episode 1.
Oh, I would have been figuring out a way to start my own sex cult. Like legit. Like the problem is Mike Tuck has like a real life with real responsibilities outside of this show. So, right. He's got a level of decorum that he's got to stick to throughout that, right? No, it would have been like Caligula up in this motherfucker in that house.
Yeah, when they were all sitting around the dinner table and one of the girls revealed that she had an OnlyFans, you would have signed up like at the table.
Yeah. No, I would have tried to figure out a way to get residuals from that OnlyFans. Like that's the play. That's the play. Listen, I've moved in with chicks that fast too, but it's usually because I needed a place to live and they were willing to pay rent. Like I've done all of that stuff when I was younger too, bro. I don't think I paid rent anywhere between the ages of 18 and 30. That's legit because I remember you getting evicted by one of those chicks that was upset and I had to pick your ass up at 4 a.m. Whatever. This is Tid. Calls me on the phone at 4 a.m. Hey, come get me. I'm like, it's 4 a.m. Doesn't matter. Gotta go. Gotta go. When I make the phone call and it's like, bro, I gotta go. So I drive down to get him. He's stuffing my car full of all of his worldly possession. I'm like, where are we going? He's like, don't know yet. I just know that I gotta go. Figure that out. That's tomorrow's problem. And just like that day, back in 1997, we gotta go. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Notorious TID. I am Donnie De Silva. We'll see you next time.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.